Really quick though, could one of you, Cole or Christy, maybe, Kurt says he can't hear or doesn't have any sound either.
Ooh.
Somebody techie message him and see if you can help him.
Oh, he's audio pin not entered. I sent him a pin. Let's see if that helps.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the first online PLC of this school year. I'm Bridget Paddock. Yahoo! For those of you who don't know me, and Wendy, who's going to introduce herself in a second, and I started this to be able to get together with teachers from across the state and collaborate and come up with good ideas and talk to each other face to face, sort of. So welcome. Wendy.
And I am Wendy, and same things. So, other folks.
So a little bit of background on how this works for those of you who are new, and then it's been since May since we've done this, so refresher for those who have been here before. We have a link that we chatted out in the chat bar for our shared Google Doc, so you are going to need to open that because that's kind of the best part of our discussion today, is the writing that happens in there. So if you don't see that, please say something and we will resend it out. But basically we're going to kind of talk and write and talk, and that's going to happen in that Google Doc. And we're going to kind of go from there. So first off, I need to know if anyone can't get into the Google Doc.
I am not sure where it is or how I access it, I guess.
Melissa, are you looking, you're on your computer, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, on the right-hand side of the GoToMeeting screen, you have like a microphone, a computer icon, a video icon, some things that look like little people, and then the next one is a little bubble. If you click on that, it's the chat, and then...
Oh, yes, okay.
We have talking going on all over the place in this.
Okay. Perfect.
And then you can just click on that and you should be able to get into it, and all the sharing permissions should be wide open.
Okay. I am in, it looks like. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to kind of get started. Our topic this month is assessment in the standards, and we had an article called The Better Grading System. I just call it Libby's article because that's where we found it, was with Libby. So we're going to start out, though. We have a guest speaker with us this month, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
So this is Colette Bartow. Christy and I are, about 25 feet away from each other in offices. And so at any rate, just wanted to say hi. I'm here at OPI, and I'm happy to share some resources and some thoughts on this topic with you.
Okay. Thank you. The first thing you want to do, because some of you are new and some of us haven't been together before, in the doc you'll see we have introductions. One, I want you to put your name in, kind of a little information about you, but let's go around and share. So Wendy and Colette and I have all introduced ourselves. Christy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Christy Mock-Stutz. I'm the English Language Arts Instructional Coordinator here at OPI, and I'm happy to see all of you this afternoon.
Okay. Libby? Libby Heffley.
Is it working?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Okay. I'm Libby Heffley, and I teach at SkyU with Bridget and Wendy, and right now I'm teaching freshman English and debate.
And Kurt.
I hope my audio is working. My screen says it's not muted.
Yep, we can hear you.
You're good.
Too loud?
Nope.
Nope, you're good.
Thank you. I typed in, I teach at the University of Great Falls and work with, or last Saturday worked with Wendy, Colette, Christy, and Bridget, and others.
Et al. And Melissa. welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So my name is Melissa Horner. I teach at Park City High School, and I teach English 9, 10, 12, speech, and a couple elective classes.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, that's not a lot or anything. It's very not stressful.
No, especially at the beginning of the year. And
And this is Melissa's first year teaching.
yay, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Bridget, a couple of other people have actually just logged on. I see Allison, and then it looks like Jill is logging on. So maybe Allison, not to put you on the spot right as you're logging in, but you want to say hello and introduce yourself and where you're from?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
yes.
Excellent. I'm Allison Weinhoff-Olson. I am an English professor at MSU, working with pre-service teachers and the Yellowstone Writing Project.
Hey,
Hello.
welcome.
And then Jill McKnight. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jill. Maybe she's not going to introduce it. Maybe she's not working. Okay, we'll skip Jill right now. Jill's also an English teacher at Skyview.
There she is.
There's Jill.
Hi, Jill.
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
Just wave. Perfect.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Yeah, so let's get started. We will really try to be done at 4:30. We're all busy, and that's part of what we try to do is be within a time limit. So we're going to kind of type in response to the prompts as we go. Our first question that we want to address is, how do you define success in your class? So if you could start it out with your initials so we kind of know who's writing, that seems to work best.
And don't forget to
So
choose
for
your
instance, I'm going to put my initials, and then I'm going to start typing. And when
Bridget, may I ask you a quick question? This is Allison.
Okay, hi, Allison.
Will you remind me how to get to this Google Doc? I can see it moving on my screen, but it's not the one that I can type in.
Nope, it's not. So if you go on the right-hand side of the GoToMeeting menu, you're going to see a little bubble icon that looks like a speech bubble.
Uh-huh.
Click on that. And then that's all of our chat, and we've chatted out the link to the shared doc.
Okay.
And if you click on that, you're going to have access to it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Caitlin, it looks like you're just joining us. We have the shared doc again. All that, we're just typing on the first one. You're just coming in. But we've already introduced ourselves, things like that. So as we're typing, if you want to introduce yourself and all of those things.
I'm Caitlin Schiller, and I teach at Whitehall High School, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get to the shared doc. I can see it on my screen, but...
So Caitlin, if you go to the chat, there's a speech bubble icon on the right-hand side.
Okay.
If you click on that,
Okay.
you're going to see a link at the bottom. Well, you're going to see it several times maybe, but there should be a link right at the bottom. And if you can't see it, let me know and I will resend it out. Can you see it now?
Yes, now I can see it.
Okay, so if you click on it, you should be able to get into a shared doc.
Awesome.
And I'll send it out again because I think somebody else just joined. So I'll just keep messaging it out.
I think we have to, when people come in, we have to kind of keep refreshing it. So thank you. Yeah.
And then Caitlin, we're just responding to that first question. How does success look in your classroom? How do you define success in your classroom?
Then
So if you want, as you have kind of wrapped yours up, you can kind of go back and look through and you'll see that several of us have already gone in and commented on different pieces that we connected with or that we thought were important. So you can do that or you can talk about it. I don't have to be the only one talking. It's okay.
I love this idea of, especially, when we're thinking about, the topic of standard-based grading, and this, I highlighted this comment that really stood out to me. I think maybe it was from Melissa MH. This says tailored fit through inductive experience. It's so true, and it reflects that students are, they're going through an independent journey as writers, but then also with their classmates, they're coming together in a journey and learning from one another and growing together, and that there isn't a success there's, success on this journey moving forward, but the success is sort of the journey, I think, and I just thought that was really great. So thank you for sharing that out. I totally, obviously agree with that.
That's it, kind of on the same line as that. I just am reading Caitlin's comment up towards the top about assessing students based on their individual growth and recognizing that all of our students do start at unique places and then they're going to grow at different rates as well. So that needs to be acknowledged as an important factor.
I think that leads right to the next quote there a little bit.
So the next one is one of the quotes from the article that we are using and kind of used as our jumping off point for this week. Evaluation is a partnership between themselves and their teacher, so between the students and the teacher. How does evaluation and assessment work in your class? Whether it's standards-based, whether it's a growth model, whether it's traditional grading, what does that look like for you? Doing okay, Kurt?
Yes, I clicked the wrong. Sorry, I need to mute myself for these.
It's fast and furious, Kurt.
Kurt, I appreciate that it was just noise that we heard, not other words being thrown out there. So, that was good self-censoring.
We just talked about an article today from last week's New Yorker in Freshman Comp, where Janet Malcolm actually paraphrases a noise from the person she's quoting. And we talked about, well, how do you show that in a quotation? Well, you paraphrase.
Just kind of looking at time, I'm wondering if I'm having so much fun and I keep forgetting that my webcam is on. So if at some point, like I'm super close to my camera, someone needs to cough loudly or something. But I'm wondering, is there a piece somebody wants to share out? I know there's lots of comments on everybody's pieces.
Yeah.
Again, this is why I love doing this, because I'm I just think it's awesome conversation. Clay, thanks for sharing that article too.
Oh yeah, well, and that was I was kind of hesitating because I didn't want to break into anybody's writing process, but I just think, you know, this idea that teachers make the heavy lift when we do all the work of assessment or evaluation is really telling. And the quote from the article on page 113 was, I found I was spending much less time on bookkeeping and much more time conferring with students and responding to their work. And I think of that division of labor, or the function of teaching, it truly is about conferring with students and being with students and helping them grow. And we should use the technology tools that we have. I think I said in my comment to someone, you know, don't let the grade book be the excuse for us not giving that really rich feedback that students need and engaging in those self-assessment and conferencing opportunities. All of us have better things to do with our time than to, you know, do the book work or do the bookkeeping involved with playing the game of standard grades in particular.
I think sometimes it's a question for parents and for students as well. This is Caitlin. I think it's parents want to feel like they are seeing progress every week and maybe even sometimes every day, and so they want to be able to log on to Family Link or whatever it is that they can see that grade book and see, aha, Johnny did this today. And I really think it's like changing the conversation with parents away from going into Family Link and going something else to look at progress in the classroom, and changing the conversation away from progress in the classroom or grades to progress in the classroom is something else. And I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Well, Caitlin, it is a little bit hard to hear you, but I think too that gets to the idea, you know, everyone wants to be able to celebrate success, whether we consciously do that or not, and parents definitely have that vested interest in seeing the evidence of student progress. But I think sometimes our conversation gets kind of shifted and it becomes that sticky wicket of making comparisons between students, and having that be the basis for the conversations that we have. You know, how well are they doing in comparison to X, Y, or Z, and instead, you know, helping parents to have the language and the way to have a conversation about what my kid is learning, how are they meeting those expectations. And I think that's, you know, one of the things that I talk about a lot with the standards-based grading and reporting presentations that I do is that, you know, parents and kids need to be full partners, and we need to take the time to help them understand the shift in particular around standards-based grading and reporting, what that conversation looks like and sounds like, and what they can expect from us in terms of the evidence that they'll see of their student making progress.
Clay, thanks for, we're glad you're here today. Good feedback.
Well, and Colette, I just was kind of, as I scroll down through the document here, I see you've put a lot of sort of resources in. Would you maybe want to take time to, now it's sort of a nice segue maybe into some of those resources that you've provided here. What do you all think on that, timing-wise? Would that be a good thing? Okay, I see thumbs up. Good.
Okay. But and so I might take over the screen here for a second in a minute, but in the Google document, I put a link to, it's just a set of PowerPoint slides, basic slides of a presentation that I've done several times at the MBI conference, and then I also have a standards-based grading teacher learning hub course. I think it's 2 renewal units, but it's basically an introduction to kind of some of these big topics and thinking about, are you ready for implementing standards-based grading? Are you ready for having a conversation about standards-based reporting? Because they're 2 very different animals that are related, but they are very separate conversations and with separate issues that you have to address in order to approach this from a best practices standpoint. The other things that I shared were and this is a video that's actually in that course, but I think it's Craig Messerman from Sentinel High School has a great TEDx talk about standards-based grading, what he did to implement standards-based grading in his science classroom as an individual teacher in a large AA school. It's worth watching, and I love that it's one of our Montana teachers whose voice is out there kind of in support of and really acknowledging you know, making that shift from students being in compliance mode and just playing the game of school to get by and get that grade and get that grade point average, and really honing in and having rich, deep conversations so that learning can happen. The other things that I would point out too is that if you are interested in following a national movement, there's an Ed Week blog post that describes the Teachers Throwing Out Grades movement. They have a Facebook page that I recommend that everybody like and follow along with. That's associated with Hack Learning, and the Twitter feed for that is TTOG. I've just put a link to those there as well. But one of the things that I really love about Teachers Throwing Out Grades is that it's you know, kind of that catchy title that gets your attention, but the conversation that happens in the Facebook page in particular and with the Twitter chat is about sharing best practices, about sharing and overcoming the difficulties when you, at the end of a marking period, have to have that traditional grade that goes in the grade book. So this is really practical experience from folks all over the nation who have wrestled with some of the things philosophically that I think we're all really uncomfortable with as we begin our teaching careers and even, you know, further in, is what I'm doing around providing student feedback and reporting. Is it authentic? Is it getting students the information that they need to improve themselves? You know, I don't know about some of you, but my experience in my educator preparation program with I guess you'd say assessment of student learning didn't make me feel really prepared to go out there. So I default to, you know, what was in place where I was working, which is, you know, traditional grade book and grade scale and all of that, and just like feeling like, okay, I just need to go with that, even though I just had this really deep-seated discomfort with being satisfied that this was the best way to communicate student learning. And I think, you know, some of you may have had this experience where you sit down for your first parent-teacher conference and you're going over the grades and you know, some of the evidence that students have produced, and in some cases I found myself not able to justify or to explain what the kid knew in particular, or even why a particular grade had been assigned. You know, it just, we need to be really thoughtful about the message that we're sending. When we say an A is worth this or a B is worth that, well, what does that mean in terms of learning? It might give us a handy number or a letter, but what does it actually say about learning? And all of that's kind of in the slides presentation that you can take a look at, or like I said, there's the standards-based grading course on the Learning Hub as well. But I think I'll just leave it at that for now, and then if there are questions, and encourage you to take a look at those links and get in touch with me. Send me an email, follow me on Twitter, send me a message somehow, and I'd be happy to engage in further conversation with you.
Thanks, Coley. That's great.
And I just, that's so powerful with the parent relationship and what everyone, we're kind of all saying the same thing here in the chat. And just thinking about, how making that partnership with parents, if the parents, the more the parents know, the more they can support their students and have that real understanding, and understanding that grades can become a measure of progress to a standard versus an average set of scores for an entire year or something. So I think that's just partly what the article was talking about, but also just something that I would love to see more and more schools moving towards.
And I think it's an important piece. Sorry, Melissa, you can go ahead. Melissa?
It must have been somebody else.
Oh, it was me. It was me, the one who keeps flapping her jaws. It just reminds me, it's a slide that's actually in that presentation. There was a Montana Ed Chat about a year or so ago about standards-based grading, and it was set up as, a forced answer, yes or no. And the question was grades or only written feedback. And Alan Hoffman, who's at Savage, his response just has always struck me. A bad grade can send the message, I can't improve. A good grade can send the message, I don't need to. That just really sums up the power that a traditional grade can have over someone's success or failure. And I think we have to take that really seriously.
I agree.
I agree. In one of my classes today, we were talking about participation trophies, which is kind of, then we started talking about grades and like if everybody gets an A, then what does an A mean? That same idea. So making sure that you do define and have students understand and define what does an A mean and what does success mean in your course. I just think that's so important so that they don't get to that, oh, I got an A, so I'm good now. I don't need to do anything else. Or I got a D, so I suck, and I'm not going to do anything else. Let's deal with our last question, and I know Coley has put a ton of resources in. We're going to skip 4 and 5, sorry, because we have 8 minutes left, and kind of get some feedback on where you guys are at with standards-based grading. We can have more of a discussion while we have Coley here, who does have a million resources, or at least 6 or 7 resources.
Probably closer to 1 million. Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome, because we will all need them. So if you've had any experience with standards-based grading, talk about it. If you have resources that you want to share, that would be awesome. If you have never ever tried it, that's fine. If you've tried it and failed, talk about that, whatever it might be. Where does that go? And we're down at number 6.
I know there's lots of awesome conversation happening, but I also know we have about 3 minutes, 4 minutes before we kind of close off. And I again hate to kind of interrupt this awesome conversation, but I also know folks are going to need to go soon. Melissa, thanks for sharing that video. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was awesome.
It'd be kind of a great conversation starter if you have a group of parents and other teachers to just put that student voice right there in the middle of that discussion. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up, because we have all of 3 minutes left, feel free to include your email somewhere on here, because if you have questions, I'm going to put mine in right now. I'm just going to comment it at the top.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just put it in with our intros. That way they're all in the same spot.
So if anyone wants to email me with questions, feel free to. I will get back to you as soon as possible, as my voicemail message says. And I would love to share resources if anyone wants resources. I am definitely in the beginning phases of standards-based grading, but I have started it and failed with things and figured out for sure things that don't work and that I need to, and that I'm still trying to figure out.
Do we have somebody just add in? I heard the beep.
I did
Tim?
And I think it was
Hi, Kim.
It's me, Kim Statton. I just got off the math. The math intersection just got done. So I did that one first, and then I hopped on. You're at dual times. You're both.
I know.
We don't like to mix math and English.
Yeah.
But Jake Warner, our math coordinator, was with us on Saturday at the MELA ELA summit that we had last weekend. So he's one of us, and we're really excited that this parallel online PLC has started today, first ever.
Yes. And Cole, you're also starting social studies?
Yeah, we had our first social studies online PLC on Monday afternoon. It'll be the second Monday, whatever week it is, of each month. And if you go to the professional learning portal, I'll put the link in the chat here, you'll see all of the PLCs on the professional learning opportunities portal as well as the hub courses that are associated with each of those.
Perfect. So with the 0 minutes that we have left, does anyone have any questions or comments or feedback or whatever last parting words? No, it's all perfectly clear. Standard.
You guys are awesome.
This was a great meeting, everyone.
Oh, and then on
thank you.
Yes, I'm going to put, I put on the bottom, the next meeting date is going to be Wednesday, October 12th. That's the second Wednesday of October. And we are going to talk about making learning relevant and authentic. Invite your friends.
Yes. And I will post this recording and the date of the next PLC on the Teacher Learning Hub and on our Google site, so you will be able to find that information and the link to log into this meeting on both of those locations for easy, convenient finding, hopefully.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.